And that takes us to our last category today, consumer analytics and engagement. Well, consumer analytics aims to enhance the shopper experience through personalization. By analyzing multiple data points across individual shopper journeys, retailers can ultimately leverage the data harvested to personalize the shopping experience and increase overall engagement. Anat Amir, Chief Product and Marketing Officer at Wizer, Gil Horsky, Director of Innovation at Snack Futures Mondelez International, and Dov Yarkoni, Managing Director CEO at Nielsen Innovate, joins us again for this last session.
Thank you very much. Hello again, everyone still here. So basically, consumer analytics and engagement is a subset of obviously market research or consumer insights, which is the broader vertical. What is consumer insights? It's basically understanding and interpretation of customer data, their behaviors, driving their feedback and arriving at conclusions that can basically can be used to improve product development and customer increase and experience to increase sales. The idea behind it all is for the brand to align its customer needs with the company's business model. And the main purpose is to understand why consumers cares for the brand, product, packaging, user experience, retail experience, what it may be. And basically understand their underlying mindset, moods, desires, aspirations that motivates them to do a specific action. But it's super tough to get it right. That's why the market research industry is huge. It's 47 billion industry in 2018, and consumer insights is 13 billion. And if we talk about product launches, 80% of product launches still fail. There's multiple methods and tactics for CI, from hiring traditional agencies such as Nielsen, to running self-service surveys with a platform like SurveyMonkey, social listening platforms, product review platforms, applying NLP or NLU. And there's also, of course, next-gen SaaS platforms like Wizer. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to our last presenter, Anat Amir from Wizer, to show the Wizer platform.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I'm going to talk about adaptive consumer analytics. So Wizer's got an adaptive consumer analytics platform. This means that we support the decision-making process in brands and agencies, many CPGs across the world. And effectively, we actually bridge the gap between what consumers want and what brands build. Now, in your heads, you may be thinking, oh gosh, this is customer surveys, takes ages, it's so expensive. How in the world am I going to use, in this fast-paced world, am I going to use consumer insights? So we've developed a platform that allows you to test every type of decision you need to make in the product innovation lifecycle, launch, and then in channel as well, to make sure that you integrate consumer insights into every decision that you make. To bring things to life, I'm going to talk a bit about, let me show you a couple of examples of things that we do. So first example is Reebok, a brand we all know and love. Reebok, before they started using Wizer, assumed that every season they need to launch a variant of gray or black. Those are the types of shoes they would launch in each market and every market every season, because that's what sells. Once they started using our platform a few years ago, they actually found out that there's a huge variance. And in the 10 markets in which we support them, every season, for every piece of apparel, we do this type of testing. We test the size and the positioning of the logo. We test the color of the merchandise that they sell, and this allows them to optimize and actually to get a better ROI. And as Dov said, the majority of product launches fail. Well, they've reduced their failure rate considerably. That's one example. Another example is a number of agencies that we work with to optimize both online and offline shelving and packaging. We use online methodologies that are very similar to eye tracking, only you do these things at home, to assess the quality of particular packaging to assess the probability that you would click on a particular product on an online store and actually buy it. So we've devised this methodology that allows brands and CPGs to test simultaneously products across several markets and several verticals. During COVID times, we've actually found that because of our agility, our customers, both brands and agencies, are able to use the platform to get a clear understanding, clear pulse of what their consumers are thinking, what they want. It's very, very cost effective. So you could get an answer to any consumer-centric decision within a couple of days, 2-3 days, and it's extremely fast and cost effective. So you don't need to be a huge brand to use our platform. In several cases, we work with a one-man or two-man show within a brand and support them so that they can make consumer-centric decisions at scale every time they need to make these decisions, just like, the colors of the season.
Thank you, Anat. Gil, are you here? You're on mute. Mute still. Mute. You're on mute. And while Gil gets his mute worked out, Anat, can you talk a little bit about the main components of your platform, or maybe the technology behind it, and what's your secret sauce?
Sure. So the secret sauce is being adaptive. So understanding the business needs in depth, and then understanding what sort of methodology, what sort of structure could give the relevant business answers that need to be answered, and then setting it up in such a way where the brand can actually automate the process, and every time they need an answer to a recurring question that they make periodically, at a click of the button, they could just request that type of insight, and within a day or two they know exactly where they stand with their consumers. It's really easy to repeat across countries, across languages. We take the overhead out of anything around consumer insights and just automate it. So it's very, very easy for them to work with. And if they need to make any changes over time, the platform is extremely agile and adaptive. So I think that the secret component within our platform is agility all the way. We're built for agility.
So it's a self-service. I mean, when you go to an agency like a Nielsen, it can take, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months for a study and cost, tens of thousands of dollars. Can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah, so we're talking about probably once we have you up on the platform, we're talking about for a general population type of insight, we're talking about 2-3 days. And then a few $1,000s. So it's nothing like the type of insight solutions that and it does give the depth so that over time who your customers are, why they are loyal to you, why they may be moving to your competitors, and how to optimize.
Perfect, thank you, fascinating. Gil, can you let us know a little bit about how Mondelez treats
Sure.
CI and if it resonates, or you have your own unique approach?
Yeah, can you hear me okay now?
Yes, we can.
Great, perfect, great, thank you. Obviously being a large multinational that is a consumer-centric company with multiple brands in different geographies, at the end of the day, the consumer is at the center of what we do. So CI, or consumer insights, is definitely a critical capability for us to understand consumers, and it's something we invest a lot of time, money, and resources. But as a marketeer and an innovator, and I have to actually kind of build on what was shared from Wizer, is I think that the pain points were always related to CI were really around the length of time till you get the learnings and the costs. Even for a big company, every time you want to ask a question, it's a big study. And I think the good news is with the advancement of technology, we're seeing more and more new methodologies and tools that company like us and our peer companies are using much more. And, you know, kind of if you think 10 years ago, it was all about the traditional focus groups and, you know, waiting for AC Nielsen, maybe BASES results for a few weeks. And I think today, in addition to these things, you have obviously solutions like Wizer that enable you to move much faster, to get inputs much faster from consumers, even if it's on the innovation side, or even just from a social listening perspective. A lot of great technologies and solutions out there that enable you with AI to really understand what your consumer is thinking about your brands, or even what they're feeling today or tomorrow. And, you know, a great example for us is with COVID. You know, consumer sentiment was changing daily, and in each country it was very different. For us, for being such a big company, having the ability to almost daily understand what the consumer in India is feeling, how secure, happy, or unhappy they are, versus in China, versus in Israel, versus in the US, and what they feel about their brands and snacking in general has been critical. And I think these technologies really enable that. The second, I think, piece around that is really the advancement of remote research tools. And we're, you know, the great example we're all having today, a conference digitally. And today you don't need to fly anymore. In the past, I used to fly around the whole time for focus groups. Today you can just, you know, join consumers at their house via the phone, via WhatsApp, follow them for weeks and learn what they're doing versus digital diaries, etc. But I want to say that in addition to all these great methodologies that we're big believers in, there's still a lot of place for actually going back to basics and making sure you listen and interact with the consumer directly and hear it in your own ears with no interpretation and nobody in the middle. And what I mean by that is, you know, our team in Mondelez still does a lot of work with consumers directly. We sometimes create an MVP of our innovation products. We stand in a farmer's market or in a store for a full day and actually gauge consumer interest if they want to buy the product or not. And that gives us a great input as to move forward in launching it or not. So I think net, there's a place for everything. Technology is really helping us a lot, but I don't think that, you know, we still need to be connected to the consumer and have that direct connection despite technology.
Thank you. Insightful. And Anat, so you talked about kind of survey-based, rapid, adaptive. Do you also have, you know, like machine learning and AI or specific predictive? Are you able to basically, based on, you know, historical data, create research quicker? Is that a big driver of also when you say adaptive and going faster?
Yeah, definitely. So the reason we can work at the speed that we do work is that we have our clients' historical data. We have the historical methodologies. We know how to compare things. We don't need to translate any type of you know, query that they have. Definitely, we are you know, tech-powered platform. It's a platform that is consumer-centric. It's agile. It is digital first, and for those reasons, we would use a lot of tech in the background. So the end users of our platform don't need to understand anything about, you know, number crunching, data crunching. They don't need to be data scientists, but effectively what we do is empower them so they actually are able to deal with the infobesity that many of them, you know, suffer, because a lot of them are bombarded with multiple data sources. They have no clue, you know, what is the decision that they need to be making and which piece of data to believe when they come to make a decision, and we help significantly with that.
Perfect, thank you. Well, you know, CI, like I mentioned before, it's a big challenge. I mean, all of us, whatever we want to do, are trying to understand our consumers, our people we're selling to more, and this is one of the capabilities that everybody should be aware of. There are many more, as Gil mentioned. Gil, any kind of final words or questions for that before we pass?
No, I think I think your comment is an interesting one, because you know, in the past, a lot of market research and marketing was depending on the quality of the marketeers. You know, was there a really good marketeer that had the ability to distill that insight out of consumers. Today, actually, with the advancement of technology, I mean, still marketeers are very important. I'm not going to take that away. I'm a marketeer. We still want to all have our jobs, but at the end of the day, the technology actually, it's becoming now more and more is, are you able to adapt new technology and actually get the max out of them? Because they are starting to, they are giving you already that capability of distilling that insight, that, that day that you sit and you listen in a consumer group and you hear that kind of aha moment still exists, but technology is definitely going to take us forward. And I think then the question is, it's almost like who is going to be the company that does a better job adapting these technologies and putting that in the war chest or in the toolbox of the marketeers. So it's a very interesting and exciting time to be in market research. I'm a big fan of what Wizer does, by the way. So, I think there's very interesting solutions out there.
Amazing. Agree 100%. Gil, Anat, thank you very much for taking the time. And over to Ben and Oren for, I guess, closing of the great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Davi Arconi, for moderating, and to Anat, Amir, and Gil Horsky for your input on consumer analytics and engagement. And this, of course, takes us to the end of our event. Thanks for staying with us for the past 28 sessions. We took you through our virtual overview of the Israeli retail tech landscape of 2020. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please do follow the Retail Innovation Club LinkedIn page and leave us your comments and reviews there as well.